What's going on, guys and girls? Another week, another show. We return with an order of a crew here, ready to dive into some brand new releases. Joining me, as always, we've got Sir Galahad Gabe.
Hello. Hi.
Any new tattoos to report?
Not yet. Coming soon.
I like your shirt though. That if you're listening,
it has all of them. It goes way down.
Waluigi.
Yeah. No. Only
it's actually a dress.
No, it's just traditional NES stuff. So.
Gotcha. Very good. And even though he won't really understand this reference, Marquis Max joins us as well, forming the third. We're missing the lady of the order, but other than that, we're sitting pretty with three dudes here.
Okay, Max, you got to do a woman voice now. Speaking of Gamergate.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Speaking of women, Valentine's Day was last week. Either of you have any fun to report from that?
No, I got dragged out to see 50 Shades of Grey.
Convincing no. He was like, no, what are you, crazy? Who has fun on Valentine's Day?
Well, no, I mean, I got dragged out to see 50 Shades, but that's about it.
Ooh, what's your quick review?
I don't care for it. It's not for me. It's not made for 25-year-old men.
What's it made for? 15-year-old men?
Any year-old women.
Even like a 13-year-old girl?
I don't know. I don't interact with 13-year-old females, so I wouldn't know.
All right,
let's move on from that. I don't care about.
All right, Valentine's Day. No, get it out of our minds. We're not even. That's not a focus of this show.
Did you do anything?
I did nothing except I did have a cop car pull up to my house, and me being like paranoid I was a little bit worried. Like, what's going on?
You broke the embargo for the order.
My
Wait,
neighbor
came to your house on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, my neighbor walks out and like standing on his driveway looking at the cop car, and I'm like. Is this bad? Did someone in my family die? Like, am I getting arrested? Is this really a drug house that I just moved into? What's going on?
Jesus. And you're just constantly, it's just worse and worse and worse. Right. Are aliens taking over? My God, as slowly you're just covering yourself in bed sheets, pillows on both sides.
Did Nintendo hear me criticize them?
It's like one of those movies where like you get arrested for something you don't know that you didn't do, but then there's like some amnesia effect and you get locked up and you really did it and you're not. Like, that's one of my biggest fears. If someone, not that whole thing, but just like the part of,
like, that's just one of them, guys, okay? Like, there's one, but that's just one of them.
Like, giant squids is another one.
If you got kidnapped or captured for something that they accuse you of doing that you didn't do. Like, one time at the airport, I was taken aside at security, and normally they're supposed to, I think nowadays, do like the pat downs in public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They took me, I'm not kidding, this was at LAX in Los Angeles. They took me into what appeared to be like a janitorial closet and did the pat down. And I honestly thought they were going to harvest my brain or
when they closed the door, was it like
Yeah, no. God.
All right, so what was
Back to the cop. So I get a doorbell rings, and I'm like, oh my God. And I open the door, and it's a woman, and I'm like, okay, she's not wearing a uniform. This is all, I guess, like my whole body's just simmering here.
We saw that tweet that you made about Gamergate, Zach. We're here to make sure you don't do anything bad.
She's like, did you just move in? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, here's some cookies from the subdivision. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then I didn't eat them because
I have a couple stories too then. This happened last week. So my aunt calls me. She's like, hey, a friend of mine found an iPhone outside this pawn shop, and it's like locked. You think you can unlock it? I'm like, I don't know. I can try if you bring it by. She brings it by, and I try to unlock it, and then the phone just starts going. My little brother says, oh, they're tracking it. I'm like, they're not tracking it. That's not a thing. Like, I know they have the Find My iPhone thing, but I didn't know that it made that noise. So I give it back to her. I'm like, no, I'm not able to unlock it, but, give it back to your friend in case, like, they are tracking it. So the next day, the cops show up at my house, too. They knock on the door. I let them in. They're like, an iPhone pinged here that was lost. We're just trying to get it back to this little girl. And here I am. My little brother and my little sisters are all around, and I didn't really want to make a big deal about it. So I said, "There's no iPhone here. Like, feel free to look around." I mean, I told them, if you want to look around, you're free to do so. And they're like, "Do you have an iPhone?" I'm like, "Nah." Like, I showed them my phone. It wasn't an iPhone at the time. And then they asked, "Does anyone else here have an iPhone?"
At the time, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I haven't. I got an iPhone like a week later.
He's still a culprit. Yeah, he got an iPhone.
No, that iPhone was like a older one.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically just lied to them. I'm like, nah, man, I don't know nothing about no iPhone. I told them,
you know that this is gonna be public.
Yeah, like what's going on?
You're just incriminating yourself. You might want to just stop talking.
Oh, nah, man, nothing. I really did nothing wrong.
What a great.
I mean, you only lied about this little girl's iPhone that you had.
Lying to the cops is not illegal.
Why didn't you just hand it to them?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Well, why don't you just tell them where they could get it or something?
Because I don't know where they could get it.
So you didn't lie.
No, I know I didn't lie. I just said I knew nothing about. I knew, but I know I can't do anything about it. So yeah.
Did you go to law school, or are you a politician?
Neither. I just watched a lot of TV.
Your answers certainly sound like either a lawyer's or a politician. I did not do such a thing.
Well, no, I mean, really, I did nothing. They can let me know in the comments.
There's nothing wrong with lying to the cops. I did not do such a thing.
Let us know in the comments if you think what I did was wrong. I mean, I basically just, I didn't want my little brothers and sisters to be scared, so I wanted to get the cops away from there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So my train of thinking was like, okay, tell them you don't know anything. I told them, I don't know, maybe someone like down the street had it and like they were walking here and then it pinged, right outside my house. I don't know.
If the owner of the iPhone is watching, you're in trouble.
I don't know. I have no iPhone.
What an argument. I
have a clear conscience. I had nothing to do with it. So
there you go. Moving right along in the morality cast, we're going to get to the order because me and Gabe have played a good bit of that. You've actually beaten the game.
Yeah, look at him showing off. He's got the game behind him. You see, he's going to point to it now.
Before we do, though,
mine came out weird. I didn't even get the retail packaging. They just sent me the disc in like a jewel case.
Play the damn game. Last week we talked about.
Next week you're gonna get the game delivered by the police officers. Exactly. They'll come with the game.
Yeah. Last week we talked about Fallout 4, Bethesda's event at E3, Evolve pricing, lots of good feedback. The Cynical Gunslinger says, I'm with Gabe on the Elder Scrolls, but basically Bethesda only starts new products when they finish the product before. So for example, Bethesda only started on Fallout 3 after Oblivion, and chances are Bethesda will start Elder Scrolls 6 after Fallout 4. Speaking of which, Fallout 4 may come out in 2016. I know it's annoying, but Bethesda only finished working on Skyrim in 2013, and if they started working on Fallout 4 in 2011, he goes on, so on and so forth. I don't know if those dates are all 100% accurate, but I thought it was interesting about sort of the focus on one product. I still think, though, they could have
I don't know if that's true anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure that they have multiple teams now.
At Bethesda, okay.
That was the case when they had like one singular team, but I think in recent times they've expanded to where they have like multiple teams working on projects.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be wrong. Like I've not looked into it, but I could have sworn that I heard something like that. So.
No, go look into it. We'll wait.
Bigfoot Hunter says, well, I'm not objecting to Boston. I'd love to see Fallout 4 in New York City. Imagine going in and looting skyscrapers. To me, that would be incredible, and I'm surprised that New York hasn't been touched on yet. I thought this was a great idea until all the Fallout fans said in the Fallout world, New York is completely a crater.
Also, have you not played H1Z1? Like, looting like taller buildings isn't super fun because a lot of the time it's just spent going upstairs. Like, really? Going up, yeah, like you're just going up and downstairs. I don't know. But yeah, I guess if New York doesn't really exist anymore, we can't have it in New York then, can we?
Still think a different city would be cool. Tom McCoy thinks Banjo-Kazooie is going to be great. He says, I think you're underestimating the successor. It's probably not going to get like the mainstream gamer appeal. However, there are many people who have been begging for a new Banjo-Kazooie, a hardcore fan base, right promotion from YouTubers and game sites. It could be a pretty solid success. And I think we all think it could be a solid success. It's just not going to be like a Uncharted 4 caliber release, just because that kind of game doesn't. You can't make like a super sexy Super Bowl trailer for Banjo-Kazooie, whatever they call this one.
Yeah, especially because the Super Bowl is until next February.
Exactly. See, Gabe has all the answers, except about the iPhone.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
We got some feedback about Evolve. I think we'll jump into that post the order because we've had a lot of Evolve lately. A couple quick mentions. Max, you were talking about Amiibos. What's been going on with those?
Well, we got sales figures, which was 5.7 million, which is insane.
Is that worldwide or states?
That's worldwide. Okay. And I think in comparison, what did they sell? Like 11 something, 0.7 Wii U's. So it shows you that that's a pretty good attach rate right there, which is insane. They also released the actual sales, like regional sales, like the top 10 best-selling Amiibos. Of course, some of them are not going to be on there, like the newest releases, because they haven't had enough time in stores
to build data.
Get on there. But I was shocked that Link is number 1. I don't know why. I thought it would be Mario, Peach, then maybe Link. But
we talked about that yesterday.
Everywhere except for Australia, he's number 1, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Do you think that's because, like...
Especially because he's one of the worst-looking amiibos.
Do you think it's because Mario, like, maybe kids already have a Mario something? Since you know, there's not a whole lot of Link, or I'm looking back at my amiibos here, Zelda, Wii Fit Trainer, Samus. Not a lot of memorabilia for those characters.
But that's probably for a good reason. Because not a lot of people are like, oh, I really want a Wii Fit Trainer toy.
Well, sure. I'm just saying. I wonder if it's because Mario, like, is more prevalent in, like, you can go pick up a Mario plush or something. But
yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the access to those particular characters is bigger on characters like Mario, Yoshi, Luigi. Those 3 have gotten the most.
Luigi is like number 10 though. Like Luigi isn't even in the
but Luigi has not been out as long, to be fair. Yeah. And they put him in one of the most peculiar sculpting positions
I mean, could it not be that people just want to use Zelda and like they want to support Link? I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, what you have to think about it is like, I guess, look, that 5.7 that is buying is most likely hardcore, obviously, Nintendo fans, right?
Yeah.
But number 1, it's still amazing that it's that many. I'm sure that it's a case of it's not one person buying one. Most people are probably buying multiples.
Yeah.
And that's why there's such a big
the day they came out, I went to the store. I was at GameStop. I was looking through them. I said, okay, I'm going to buy like 4 of them right now.
Mm-hmm.
The very first one I reached for was Link. I mean, I bought Link, Mario. I got.
And you saw the yellow rod attached to him, which is very weird.
It's weird, but whatever.
I think it's also because, like, for the people that don't have Wii U's, the people that are buying these just for Nintendo love, that Link is a more cool character to have, like, sitting on your shelf as a 20-something-year-old than Mario.
Maybe.
Kind of, but the problem is the way he's designed. He's got that like anime kind of look, so I don't know if that would be the case. You know what I mean? And I think people would be more accepting of the Mario. You know, because Mario, I mean, he's the coolest looking amiibo in my opinion. Like just as a pure like sculpt, he's got a cool accessory with that fireball coming off his arm, and I don't know. I think that he's the most impressive in terms of sculpt, paint, like the whole package. Samus is really cool, but I don't know. I'm genuinely surprised by the fact that it's that Link is so.
Well, what place did Kirby had? Because I was looking at the list a couple days ago, and I was like, wow, Kirby is that high on the list.
Yeah, that also was a pleasant surprise. But he's an awesome little amiibo. Like he's super simple, but he's like really, really well done.
I don't understand why so many of them are facing down. Like, why are they all looking at the ground? You think they would have had their heads positioned like
they're ashamed.
I can't. Toon Link is my angle favorite, him up like this to even be able to see his face. Like what?
Toon Link is my favorite. I love Toon Link.
But again, Toon Link might be higher up because obviously he's only had like a couple of weeks on store shelf.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll see where the figures go. Fact is, it's just really interesting to see the fact that Link is the highest seller because maybe we underestimate just how big Zelda is. You know, like maybe Zelda will be the game that drives a lot of sales for Nintendo more so than.
I don't think anything's driving like Wii U sales. Honestly, I think we'll move past that soon as far as just consoles. Like, we will have a new Nintendo console sooner rather than later.
How much?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, how much is stock also factoring in? 'Cause I know they listed Marth as like the highest sell-through because he's very limited. I mean, could it also be that, again, this is just theory, but it's a Zelda year for Wii U. They're pumping more Links and Zeldas into stores as opposed to Marios and
I don't think they would pump more Links than Marios. I think maybe an equal number. But why in there? No, I think Nintendo believes that Mario is their mainstay. That is their mascot for the most part.
Okay.
So I don't think there's more Links than Marios out there. Maybe an equal.
Plus, that's counterintuitive because if there's more supply, if demand doesn't.
Well, they don't seem to care about demand. I mean.
Yeah, they don't give it.
Well, no, they do because you see, the way that they are controlling demand is through the supply, right? Because look, if they made the Wii Fit Trainers available as Mario, do you really think it would be selling through like that? Let's be honest.
No, but I do think that they can control this list pretty.
In
easily.
fact, I don't even think that they would have sold as many Amiibos as they did. I think they caught lightning in a bottle again. It's similar to Pokemon in the 1990s. It's similar to just that. the hunt. It's like that addiction of like, I gotta go into the store on the Friday in the morning, on the way to work.
Well, they got the retail exclusives.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I gotta come in, see, oh man, there she is, or there he is. I'm gonna drive to another Target. Maybe the Best Buy has it, so on and so forth. So I think they captured that whole element of like excitement about the hunt, and the satisfaction more so comes from finding them than actually the amiibos themselves. Now, additionally to that, we also got some other reveals, one of which was that now they're considering to allow you to unlock like demos on the virtual console through your amiibos, which seems like a pretty cool idea. I mean, I think it's neat because I like the concept of amiibos in the sense that it feels like we're going to get added value to these things as time goes on.
Because of their success, right? I think the fact that they're so successful makes Nintendo think like, okay, we're really going to do it.
I think it's also probably a response to the fact that there's a lot of people that have amiibos but may not have the specific games. And so say I don't have Smash Bros, but I have Samus. If I could unlock a demo for Super Metroid, that then gives me gives
more incentive.
Yeah,
of course. But I just like the concept because like if you look at Disney Infinity or Skylanders, the main way that you use those characters, of course, you can carry them over from game to game, but you're not getting like more added value on the character, if you know what I mean, right? Whereas here, maybe the initial value is not exceptional, but who knows, and maybe like, the next game and the game after that, like let's say we look down 2 years down the line and this one little amiibo is going to be able to unlock like 20 different costumes in 20 different games, or something like that. So then you start looking at it a lot more like, oh, okay, that's cool because you're getting continuously you're getting more and more value for just one amiibo. So I think that that's a good idea. And that's a smart idea by Nintendo. And then the last thing they revealed with Amiibos was the cards. So what they're saying is that they're either going to re-release some of the rare Amiibos. They're looking at the demand and see how it's going to happen. I think that would be a silly move to re-release the toys because they've built up a market and a fan base that appreciates the rarity of certain things. So I think if they just said, oh yeah, we're releasing a wave with Marth, Captain Falcon, Pit, Little Mac, and Wii Fit Trainer or Villager, right? Like the most rare ones, we're just going to do a whole nother printing of them. I think that that's going to upset a lot of fans and might backfire. But the card idea is interesting. What do you guys think?
I mean, to me, I guess it depends how it's handled. I mean, do they go the route of, oh, you buy just a Villager card? Is it a pack of random? Could they do, one of 3, amiibos in this thing or whatever, like sort of a Pokemon style thing? But my only concern with that is, does that devalue? I mean, they can't charge $13 for a card, right? So does this? If you're going to say that the worth of an amiibo is not only the plastic figurine, but also their in-game, ability or power or whatever, and we're just talking about, how many different games will they work for, carry over with? Will they ever develop a amiibo-centric game? If you're going to start selling that at a much cheaper price, does that almost indicate that they don't have bigger plans? Because if now you can get these amiibos for $3, are they going to want to pump as many uses into them as they would at a $14 figure?
That's a good question. I think that that's definitely something that is going to need to be considered, but I think that the actual figure is a lot of the value, you know what I mean? So it's like I think it's that element of like, oh, I get to have a collectible little toy. So I think that that's a big appeal of it. So I don't know, like I don't think that they would have a big issue with that. More importantly, I don't see Nintendo being like, hey, $10 and you get 10 cards or something, Like I would expect, because look, if the card comes out, no matter what, that card has to have the IR technology or whatever in it.
Yeah, so it's not just a piece of paper,
So it's got to be scanned in. So it's not going to be like a regular card.
Right.
So
I would think
as a result of that, I'm sure that it'll be like maybe $5 or something like that per 3 cards or 2 cards even. I don't know what they'll do.
Right. But to me, it's a pretty smart move because I think it just gets everyone else in. So like, to me, this appeals to 2 people. One, the people who weren't going to buy Amiibos but now want in on some more Wii U action, or the people who already have Amiibos but don't want to take them out of the box and now they buy the cards for usage. I can't see someone saying, screw it, I don't need the figure, I'll just get the card. To me, it doesn't it's not like it's eating away at that market. It's more just trying to be more inclusive and bring more people into this Amiibo frenzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a smart way to get around. Hey, you have fans who want to own the Wii Fit trainer or some of these other characters that are super rare.
That's
not
true too.
willing to pay crazy for it. So let's give them a different alternative to get that stuff in a reasonable price and without also cannibalizing or hurting the existing collector market, so to speak. Because that's what they've established with the Amiibo now. Is like it's a collector-oriented thing. It's about like look behind you. You don't own one. Like you've got like I don't know how many right there, right? So it's like it would be really interesting to see what is the average amount of figures that a person owns. So it's like
I would love to know
registered to just one person, you know? Because I think that attach rate is very high. Like could be as high as like 10 figures, and I wouldn't be surprised about that.
I'd be surprised at 10. I wouldn't be surprised at 5. 10 seems a little high because at that point you're spending $14.
Yeah, $130. Yeah,
it's crazy.
But I think that when you think about it, they've created that thing of like people are lining up on Friday mornings.
It's crazy.
To see the new shipment of Amiibos. That hasn't happened in a long, long time. Like that, there's not a lot of toy lines that create that kind of demand. You know what I mean?
Just My Little Pony. I'm joking.
I don't know.
I think it'd also be interesting to take stats
Yeah.
to see like how many people actually use the Amiibos. Like what percentage of people that purchase Amiibos actually scan them in?
I think it's tiny.
Yeah, it's just weird. A couple quick hits from this week news-wise. The studio that was making the Phantom Dust new game reboot, whatever you want to call it, for Microsoft, Darkside Games, was closed. And the way that they kind of phrased it was that Microsoft didn't pick their vision of the game, that they're still continuing with this Phantom Dust reboot, but they're going to do it in-house, Microsoft Game Studios. They didn't like what Darkside Games was doing, which I feel very sad about. Like, that's such like a horrible feeling, I think. Like, you're building a game and your parent company comes in and says, sorry guys, we don't like the work you've done.
Yeah.
But
did they say they're going to be working on something else then?
I believe that they closed down.
Oh yeah, they're done.
They closed the studio.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is kind of a somber thing. Another quick little news bit. I don't remember who the representative was, but they were inquiring about why the new 3DS only comes in an XL model in America. And this is the first time I've ever heard this addressed concretely. We were, just kind of suspecting maybe it's because of big hands, maybe it's because of shelf space. He said that they are eliminating the regular XL model, so there will be the 2DS, the regular 3DS, and now the new 3DS XL, in order to clarify and sort of condense that lineup, make it easier for people to buy, and in my estimation, push more people, because the XL was selling better than the regular anyway, so this pushes more people towards the new hardware and builds up that that base to potentially release more exclusive games.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, it does them no favors to have like 5 different 3DSs. I know 5 isn't the actual number, but just give them the size variations and that's it. You don't stop selling the older ones. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, just eliminate the option for the consumer to be confused. Because even with the Wii and the Wii U, there was a little bit of a time there where I personally witnessed one time a mom or a grandma or something like that buying at a Toys R Us. She was like, my grandson, they really want the Wii. And he was like, the Wii U? And she's like, the Wii. And she wasn't sure which one it is. So she was like so confused. And then he told her, well, this one isn't like, because it was the Wii Mini, $100. And she's like, oh, that's the one I'll get then.
Yeah.
And she seemed surprised. So I'm sure that she was actually looking for the Wii U, but she bought the Wii because there was a confusion of like
a lot of disappointed kids out there.
So I think it's just common sense. Like, why keep the inferior version on store shelves, especially if it's going to be even the same price, So I'm probably expecting that over the next week or so, stay tuned to your local sales shopping papers, because I'm sure there's going to be maybe even like specials and sales on the regular 3DS XLs, just to get them out, sell them through.
I've heard that the new ones has been selling out as well. Like those are.
They don't have.
Really?
They don't have them in any shops in my area. They're all sold out.
I was at a Walmart, Toys R Us. Each one of them had 5.
Yeah. Well, mine are also. It depends on your area. You are in Canada.
Yeah. Canada hates Nintendo. That's like a
Oh, really? That's what you should title this podcast.
Nintendo, though, between Amiibos, between their new, hardware iterations, between their Wii U profitability, I mean, as much as they get sort of pooped on, they are making bank and probably looking towards their next. I mean, not maybe in the gargantuan
because they're not selling. Yeah, because they're not selling games; they're selling toys instead.
Yeah, well,
but that's
whatever floats.
That's where they started, right? Yeah, that's Nintendo's origins as a toy company, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And to be honest, like I think that the like a very impressive element of the Wii U, and of course you could attribute it and say that the reason why it's there is because of the fact that there's nothing else to buy on it, but they have an incredible attach rate with their games, right? Like it's incredible how they could consistently sell in the multiples of millions each one of their titles just over and over and over again. Like we'll see how Kirby does, of course. That'll be interesting because that's a smaller kind of like more niche title.
A tier 2
I think they're aware of that, and it doesn't also look like a game that costs them as much as a Smash or.
Well, that's why it's on full price. So.
Yeah, and speaking of full-price games, the Order 1886 is the big dog in the room this week. I mean, my first thing I want to say is, why is this not just called the Order? What does the 1886 do for them?
Funny thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
What I told you was I think the Order is just too broad of a term for like search results and stuff. I'm sure that has some bearing on it. Like if someone's looking for your game.
Is it set in 1886?
Yes.
Okay.
I just for their inevitable sequel, it's like, is it going to be the Order 1887 or the Order 2 or the Order 2?
It'll be. I think it'll be 1887. I really think it will.
Maybe.
And who knows?
It's funny. It's funny because like just this week on my podcast we talked about like the idea of how oftentimes like you have a name and how like we came to a realization as we talked about it that a lot of times the names of games have nothing to do with the game. Like if you just thought of the title on its own, like when I thought of, we talked about like the biggest games, we just gave their name and then we thought, what do you think that game would be? Just based on the name. And I was like, the Order 1886 sounds like a mobile game where you're like, taking orders or something like that, and you got to reach 1886 because that's like the number that like you actually succeed on or something like that. So it's really funny how convoluted video game titles really are oftentimes. And they have nothing to do with the game. Like Mirror's Edge we talked about sounds like a horror game or something like that, Like I would never think of free-running parkour.
I mean, this game does have an order in it. There's an order of knights, and it is set in 1886. And Gabe, you have beaten it. I'm about halfway through-ish.
You're in Chapter 7?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a little bit less than half. Yeah, you're halfway through. Like, cause
how many hours, Zach?
I played close to 3.
Oh, that's not good.
I'm telling you, like,
let's talk about the game before we get into the length discussion. Like, get into the game, Gabe. Like, what has impressed you or not impressed you? I mean, we know it's gorgeous, but how does it play? How does it feel? What's it like?
All right, and I've told this to Zach a few times, and I said it to Max right before we started recording the podcast. To me, the most impressive thing is that in 2015, we finally got a game that runs well. It's not broken, super polished, no loading screens whatsoever. And to me, this is the most like technically, complete game that we've had on a long, long time. Games come out these days, and they need day one patches and stuff like that. This is completely fine, and we played it a week before release, sort of Friday. Yeah, Friday to Friday, sure. We did play it like a week before release, and even like this, it works. The shooting, it's a third-person shooter, cover-based. Zach, was it just me, or are the hit markers just a tad bit off?
I didn't.
Especially with the pistols.
Maybe I think there's a little. I mean, you have to kind of gauge how far you are away. That seems to kind of get a little iffy in terms of like up close, it's one shot, back far, it's a couple. But I mean, I think it's important to point out that this game is what everyone either didn't want it to be or knew it was going to be, which is a straight-up third-person shooter. Like for a time, there was all these thoughts of like, is it going to be open-ended? Is there going to be quests? They talked about this big city. Is there going to be multiplayer? Yeah. This is like very cut and dry third-person shooter with cinematic flair and a heavy focus on story and presentation and being very pretty. There's not a whole lot of choice. There's no choice really.
There's zero choice. Yeah.
Not a whole lot of flexibility. A lot of times you're moving through very small paths, but I will say that when I played this game in demo form at PAX and E3, the areas that they gave us to play were very like shooting gallery. Like you were posted up against a piece of cover, fighting off 30, 40 guys. That does happen in the game, but it's much more of a story-driven linear adventure than just like cutscene, room of 40 guys, cutscene, room of 40 guys. Like it does borrow a little bit from the Uncharted school of third-person design rather than some super crummy, gallery shooter.
How would you compare it to like Gears of War? Obviously not the same story, but just gameplay-wise, it's sort of.
It has a heavy feel to the guns. Like they all have kind of a weight to them, which I really like. And actually, I was gonna say I thought the shooting controls were pretty spot on.
The shooting really is great. It's just with some of the pistols, just the hit markers are just a tad bit off.
Am I wrong to assume for the game, because I haven't played it yet? I didn't get an early copy or anything, so I'll get a chance to play it. I'll probably report next week. But I don't know why, from the trailers and everything that we saw like before, it seemed like a game that actually required a little bit of like resource management or something.
No,
like you
zero.
wouldn't have. So plenty of ammo, no issue like that.
Yeah. I mean, the Gears of War thing I think is pretty apt. I would say that Gears of War, even with its limitations in mobility, has more opportunity to move around the levels than this game.
Yeah, it is bigger levels. Some later levels are a little bit bigger.
Okay.
But this really is just a third-person shooter, completely linear.
There's the boss fight super neat. Like
what boss fights?
Yeah.
Well, like not the. I don't know. Like again, you see, this is the problem. From what we saw, like those werewolf type creatures, they seem to be difficult to kill.
I think that the game was like over. I don't know if it changed course throughout development, but I feel like early on it was oversold as this big Victorian London town taken over by paranormal or whatever you want to call those, like creatures and monsters, and we're gonna get werewolves and vampires, and maybe that was the vision of the game.
Wait,
but
hold on. Did they say that?
I feel like they talked about you'll be able to walk the city streets and talk.
No. Okay, you said werewolves and vampires. Did they show vampires ever?
Then I don't think.
I guess it was just the impression that I and other people got, that this was going to be sort of before they locked down that this is a linear third-person, cover-based shooter. I think there was an idea when they mentioned werewolves, and people even dissected a NeoGAF as recently as this week. The quote that when you're fighting, the creatures such as the lichen, and people took that quote to mean, such as, meaning there are going to be more creatures besides. I mean, I know we don't get into spoilers, but
that's the thing, because I want to ask something so bad, and maybe I'll ask it, but I'll cut it out. Okay, if you guys feel like this is spoiler. Okay. Yeah, Max, you can close your ears. Go ahead.
You're good, Max.
I'm safe.
All right.
Yeah, you're good.
I mean, what I think has impressed me, first of all, I played this game. I decided instead of recording it first that I would play it just as is and enjoy the experience, because it's a very experience-heavy thing. And holy crap, I thought Infamous Second Son looked great. This is. I would use.
Is this our first next-gen game?
I mean, graphically, yes. It's insane. Now, I'll get to sort of the bad side of that in a minute here, but what I want to say is that the characters in this game, to me, had zero appeal in trailers and in press releases. I was like, some dudes with mustaches and a girl in England and whatever. They do a nice enough job with the story to build attachment to the characters, where I found myself liking Galahad, the main guy. I was like, this guy's a pretty cool guy, and even though he doesn't have the suave charm of Drake or like, the beauty of Lara Croft, like there's a way that they kind of make you attached to him, which I was really surprised by, because I looked at the game and didn't think that I would have any interest in the story.
That's the thing. Each of these characters has a thing that you could really, really like about them. Their personalities are all different. They're
Do you
not
get to play all the characters, or are you always controlling Galahad?
You are always Galahad.
Okay.
But the female, she has her own personality, and for the subject that we were talking about before the podcast, she's a strong female.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing hypersexualized about that.
That's good.
Galahad's super noble. Lafayette, he's a little bit more playful. He's a ladies' man. And Parzival, he's like your mentor. So they do a good job of making sure that each character is different from each other, instead of having like a squad of 4 that are, all the same. Sort of like again, Gears of War. Like those guys, your squad, they're all sort of the same. Sure, one of them is a little funnier than the others, but they're all doing their dude bro thing together.
And Max, like, I felt like how you were talking when I was playing the first couple chapters. I was like, man, why didn't they let you with the D-pad switch between characters? I could be, the girl with her gun and this guy, and then as I played, I think that would almost dilute the game even further. The fact that the characters have their own defined personalities, a lot of times their own, like you'll borrow a tool from another guy. Like there's just some interesting things that come out of not being able to be everybody, and maybe having that flexibility would almost. I think back to Fuse, which is one of the worst games I played in years.
Mm-hmm.
It was Insomniac's attempt before they did Sunset Overdrive, and switching between those guys, I was like, I don't care about any of them. They have no personality, and they basically became a gun. This guy is this gun. This guy is this gun, and I think that for the story and for what they're doing here, it almost behooves them to only let you play as Galahad.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. The reason why you can't do that is story. This is, for the most part, the story of your main character, which is Galahad. And this is his deal. Sure, all these other characters are there, but it's not their story.
Is it to be like, again, we're going to try to avoid spoilers because the game is just coming out for most people, and most people are just now going to get a chance to play it.
Yeah.
But is the story really interesting, or is it like your typical kind of thing of like,
okay.
oh, there's monsters, and now you're the good guy, go stop the monsters?
Well, I'll chime in first.
Does it have more depth than that?
Because I think I felt different about the beginning of the game. Zach seems to enjoy the beginning of the game more than me. For me, the beginning of the game is really boring, in my opinion, at least from the chapter 1 to maybe like chapter 4. Like there's not a whole lot there. They set up the world, and at first the characters, they're not going to click instantly. You got to have some time with them, obviously. But as the story progresses, you see the qualities of each of these characters, and no, this is not just as straightforward as, okay, there's monsters, go attack them. And I want to temper people's expectations. You're not only fighting werewolves. This is not a werewolf hunting game.
Yeah.
So, like, for the most part, you're fighting humans mostly, and I don't. Hopefully, that's not a spoiler. I think it's not. No. But yes, there is a reason why you're trying to stop what's happening, and it comes down to more than, oh, werewolves are bad, we're going to kill them. There is more than that. There is more substance.
I don't know if it pays off, but there definitely are some hints dropped throughout the first half of the game that mysterious hints, like maybe there's some betrayal, maybe there's some double things going on, maybe there's another like ulterior
that laugh
motive.
Gave it away a little bit.
I mean,
maybe there's some betrayal.
Well, it's just like the
I'm doing the Rocket Raccoon laugh. I'm like,
it's pretty standard fare, but it's like your character is like looking at another guy in the street and he like seems to recognize him, but maybe like that kind of stuff. But it drops some little pebbles of the possibility for good story beats. And I'll say that I think maybe, Gabe, what sort of bothered you in the beginning is a lot of times games like this that are limited in their gameplay would start off with an epic set piece. And I feel like the prologue in the first chapter of The Order, it doesn't hit home very well. The opening bit is actually like the opening bit to me was more, it's a tutorial, but I didn't like the way it was accomplished, and there isn't like that, holy crap, the train is falling off the snowy mountain in Uncharted 2, like starting you off like with a bang. It more slowly eases you in, like quite literally you're like crawling and then walking and then running.
You're right.
Literally. That fits the tone of the game, though, right?
Sure.
Well, going back and replaying it, I played the first 4 chapters right before we started recording the podcast again. I had already finished it a couple days ago. And it plays better, especially now knowing what I know since I finished the game. Contextually, I know certain things about the beginning because it's not in order. The beginning of the game is like maybe like chapter 13 or something, and they're just showing you like, oh, this happens, and then you go back in time and play all the way to
the point.
And Max, it does definitely establish what you're saying in terms of a more in-depth story, because that in particular, when I played that first prologue, I was like, I don't really get why this is a deal. I don't really care what happened to him. But as I played more, now I'm much more interested. Like, why was he in that situation? What is going on, that would have got him to that point? Because, he seems so this, he seems so that. How could it get there? So as long as they follow through, and Gabe, it sounds like they do, I do think they've built a pretty solid storyline. And I just got to say, like, it is super fun to run into a room and have guys blasting glasses off tables. There's, cases of weapons, like the glass is shattering everywhere. You're fighting guys in the most gorgeous console game I've ever seen. Just for that alone, it does back it up with cool characters and a pretty good storyline and some interesting gameplay. But for that alone, like, I love that experience. I love just being in this gorgeous world and not doing like, it's not like, nothing against indie games, but it's not like, a beautiful world and you're just like pointing and clicking. Like, you're actually moving around, you're actually shooting, and it made me super excited for in 2-3 years. What if we got an Assassin's Creed? What if we got a GTA?
That's exactly what I thought. Like, when I was thinking that first section where you first do that climbing, I'm like, dude, this climbing is better than Assassin's Creed climbing. And obviously, you have nowhere near the amount.
The cover does look a little bit like Unity's promo pics with the 4 assassins. Like, if you put them,
I mean, there
you go.
There's a moment early on where you come up onto this rooftop, you open up, you look at the city. I felt like I was in freaking Star Wars. It's like that glorious. I don't know. They do so much. We've talked about good skyboxes in like Halo or in a number of other games, but it blew me away. Like,
how much of a deterrence is it that you can't go to any of the buildings?
And that's what I wanted to get to, is that I am very skeptical of how many tricks are going on behind the scenes to pull off these creative graphics and where they choose to limit your ability to do stuff. Because it's my biggest complaint with the game is that there are almost like 3 or 4 different modes of the game. One is full-on cutscene. 2 is cutscene mixed with moving, but you're not able to run, you're not able to shoot, you're not able to interact. So like, I move up to a wood board, then it goes to cutscene mode, he lifts it up, crawls under, now I'm back moving. Or I go to a ladder, he climbs up in cutscene mode, and then I'm back controlling.
So quick time events kind of.
Well, there is a lot of quick time events.
But you're moving still. So like, you have control, but it's on a very like, I can move forward. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're running around
on rails kind of.
Right. And then third, I'd say, is the quick time stuff, which could be a fight scene. It also could be a movement thing. And fourth is like my favorite, the full-on gameplay, where it feels more like an Uncharted or a Gears of War. You've got this big area or a couple of connecting areas, and you're moving around, taking cover, exploring, finding little collectibles and whatnot. But
is that balance good? Because the key is that there's not a lot of those first 2 categories, and more so like if it's like 60 and 40 of those, then it would make sense. Or do you feel like it's pretty much like you get a third gameplay, a third quick?
It balances out well. Especially.
I was towards the end.
Well, not just towards the end, just towards the middle of the game. Like, there's a lot less only cutscene stuff. The quick time events, they are definitely a thing throughout the game, but it's not constant. When they do come up, I do feel annoyed. I'm like, man, I don't want to sit here and tap this button. But yeah, it's a thing that players like, I guess, because
quick time doesn't bother me. What bothers me is those transitions where like I'm running with my character, then it goes to a cutscene, and then they want me to do like 3 seconds of movement, and then back to a cutscene, and it's not confusing or anything, but there's no load screens really. There's no stoppage in play. The difference between cutscene and gameplay is so minute. It's
as far as visual,
impressive,
and that's a good thing.
Like, I've noticed like times where I'm still pressing forward, and I'm like, oh, I'm not controlling him. He's actually just doing his own thing.
No.
Which,
to be fair, maybe that is a good thing, because maybe what they're trying is to like immerse you into the cutscene element, right? Like,
sure, but why are they taking away control when he's just climbing a ladder? Like, that's where I worry that this game looks so gorgeous, but I wonder how many years away we are from a full-blown experience in this kind of fidelity, because of the fact that it seems like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors to, like, oh my god, this scene is amazing, you're look at the sky, look at what's going on around you, but you're only moving like almost as if it's a 2D game.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that I think is like, there's always an element of cynicism, which is very fair because we've been proven oftentimes right.
Yeah.
But I hope that it's more a case of like, this is a stepping stone title, because it sounds exciting. Like, it sounds like the first game that really maybe starts to push these machines to a new level and to experiences that we haven't had before. I want to experience it, like see how smooth those transitions are between cutscene to you controlling it and back and forth, because I've always said that I think that that's something that usually actually disconnects you when the cutscenes are way cooler than anything you do in gameplay, because it always feels like, why do you not let me play that? Like, I want to play that epic cutscene out. Like, let me control that. So if they manage to do that better, I think that that might be a good thing.
Here, a lot of the cutscenes are just like story-based, like what you want to control Galahad talking to this other guy, like that. That's what it is.
Well, I'm talking more about the transitional stuff, like the movement-based stuff. That, like, I just found myself like, I wish I could have control of him more of the time, because like my favorite level so far has been one where you have a lantern and you're going down in a really dark area. It uses lighting great, and you're able to fire and hold this lantern up, and it felt like I was playing The Last of Us almost. That's not a great comparison for the whole game, but
Alan Wake, because you have that.
There you go. Yeah. But just from the standpoint of like
Resident Evil or something.
I was moving through these tunnels. I had control. I was fighting guys and progressing through the level. It kind of felt like the best of what the Order has, all put in one level, as opposed to this is a shooting gallery segment, this is a movement segment. I mean, those are still fun, and I've been impressed with how enjoyable all of it's been. It leaves me so hungry. And if you look at games coming out at the end of the year, Uncharted 4, like Gabe, would you agree that Uncharted 4 does not look as good as this at all? From what we've seen?
It doesn't. But wait.
Really? Have you seen the character model pictures for Nathan Drake?
I was gonna get there. But keep in mind, Uncharted's not coming till the end of the year. They have a lot of time. But I mean, yeah, we're seeing these beautiful character models, but I don't know how they look in game really. Yeah. This I know how it looks like. For right now, the Order is the best looking console game.
Like Max, I think like I knew it looked good, but I think when you pop this in, you're gonna be like
blown away.
It really is that good, and it's not. I watched a couple weeks ago a video of Unreal Engine 4, this Paris apartment tour. It was amazing, but you knew that they were just flying through with the camera. The fact that you're playing in this, and it's not like there's a downgrade. It's not like, oh, off in the distance, like Destiny, like it looks beautiful, and then up close it looks like crap. Like up close you have so much detail, and they really painstakingly put detail into these areas, even if you're just blazing past them. Interaction is low, but man, detail
I'm getting excited.
Is high.
And, all right, and one thing I wanted to touch on that we haven't touched on.
Yeah.
This isn't just, yes, it's a third-person shooter, but there is variation. There is a stealth segment. I think they made a conscious effort to make sure that every level is different from the last one. If you have a level that you're just basically, okay, third-person shooter, cover base, you're just a shooting gallery, like you said, the next mission won't be that. You'll have some differences. You'll get the lantern mission, like you said,
cool.
or you'll get the stealth elements.
So I guess that transitions like super well into like some of the controversy around this game, right? About length and how it's not too long. But maybe is this a case of just a really good game in terms of like it's a good game and it doesn't do a lot of repetition? Like they could have probably made this game twice as long by giving you shooting gallery after shooting gallery, but they felt like that just takes away from the game. It doesn't add anything to the title in any way, shape, or form. So they instead decided, hey, let's just make every chapter different and optimized as best as we can to work for the story.
And I guess that's what it is. And I guess we can get into the length argument now.
What was your playtime, Gabe? Roughly
5.7 hours.
Okay.
Max,
why does that make you like nervous?
Hold on. Let me clarify. That is the length of my videos. All right. So it's 13 videos from beginning to end of the game. Keep in mind, I'm editing out when I die and stuff like that.
Okay. So it's more close to 6, 7.
Well, the reason why it makes me go is because at the end of the day, I can't say based on things that we've gotten before. You know what I mean? And based on precedent. Like, again, I haven't played the game, so to be fair, what if I play this and it's like, my favorite game ever, you know, and it just becomes the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Which I don't think that's going to happen for you, but okay.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Last of Us is in my top 3 games of all time, and for sure my favorite game of last generation, and tonally it seemed similar somewhat. So we'll see. But I'm just trying to say that, like, it's really hard to say that 5 hours is worth $60. And I know right now we're going to get to, well, what's quality? But I just feel it isn't fair, and it would be very hypocritical of me to take Evolve and take it to the woodshed and everybody else who did it for the game.
Yeah, including me. Yeah, same with me.
And then come back around this week and be like, well, Order 1886 is awesome, you know, and it's like it's worth $60. No, it doesn't have multiplayer, and therefore, like, because on that basis you could say, well, Talos Principle is an incredible story experience, right? But it doesn't take that much money from you, right? Like, it doesn't take $60 from you. Now, of course, it doesn't look nearly as good or polished or has all the other gameplay elements that we have here. I just feel like right now, based on precedent, I can't say that a 5-hour game, which I hope it isn't, because again, that's been kind of a thing that has been controversial in terms of, like, because was there a YouTuber that uploaded something?
Yeah, Max, and you keep saying you hope it isn't, but I'm telling you it is. Like,
well, here's my.
I hope, but with the way I play games, I'm I explore. Yeah, I'll read.
Fine, then we'll give you 7 hours. Are you cool with 7 hours? That is the max you're gonna get from this. That is the max you're gonna get. 8 at the very, very most. If you're crawling through the game, looking at every crevice, you're gonna get 8 at the most. There's no way you're gonna get any more than that.
And that's hard. It's hard to justify value on that basis.
Yeah.
My issue, like, I guess, and I'm someone obviously who, like, I didn't mind paying $60 for Evolve, and I will reiterate that I did buy my copy.
You bought one of your copies.
Are you going to the game for taking time out of your life, or are you going to it for a fun experience?
Absolutely. I know what you're going to.
To me, it's like if you eat a food and it's one bite, but it's the greatest bite ever. I'd rather have that than a whole 5 course.
I know what you're saying, but the thing is, it's one of those elements of, like, look, I had Last of Us, and that was the greatest meal gaming has given us, right?
Yeah.
And that wasn't a 5-hour experience, and it had awesome multiplayer.
Sure, I think you hit the nail on the head, though, that length in this game would have greatly detracted from what they try to create, because the options for gameplay are quite limited, and therefore extending that out, doubling that, you get double the gallery shooting segments, double the, just walk through the halls. I feel like at that point, this is an instance where a developer made the choice to cut thin in order to kind of elevate the game, raise up what they have.
And let's touch on that really quickly. The developer, this is correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time they make a console game. Like,
they are console ports. They did like Okami.
Sure, but they're ports. This is their own first console. Like,
exactly. They're a handheld studio. They did the God of War games on PSP and whatnot.
Like, it's ready at dawn. Like, they don't have this.
Is this the guys that did the Uncharted game on Vita? Yeah.
So
did they?
Yeah.
Ready at dawn did Uncharted?
Sure.
Golden Abyss, yeah.
The Vita one.
Yeah, let me double check, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm just saying, like, you see, the problem is, like, I get what you're saying, and it's kind of a double-edged sword in that regard, because, like we said, I think that at the end of the day, the conclusion we came to last week is that, and it's kind of a topic that we've been bringing up every week, but quality is very subjective.
Sure.
And quality to you is very different to quality to me, and so on and so forth. So therefore, that argument can be had till, the cows come home. It'll be hours and hours. But I just think that from a consumer standpoint, if you look at somebody who can't buy every game, right?
Sure.
And they bought a PS4 and they're looking for an exclusive or whatever, and they're looking at the Order 1886, they buy it and it's a fun experience, but that's $60. You know what I mean? Like, if you work at a minimum wage job, that's 6 hours of hard work, hard labor, and then you get back 6 hours. So
let me correct myself as well as whoever else said it. They did not make Uncharted.
Yeah, Sony Ben made it.
Yeah, that was Sony Ben. Yeah, they made God of War, Chains of Olympus, and Ghost of Sparta and Okami. So
I guess, like, Max, I agree with you on that standpoint. Like, I would not tell my brother to go spend $60 on this game because of the length, but at the same time, I don't think that therefore it should be. This gets really touchy, but I guess for people who are on a limited budget, then yes, you do need to get more creative with your choices and think a little bit more about where you're going to put your dollars. I don't know that the publishers or the console platform holders should be required to cater to that. I think it's
they're not supposed to. They're supposed
But I would tell my friend, wait till it's 40.
Yeah, you have that option. You can wait till it's on sale. It will go.
Yeah, I think it's a case of, like, look, it's a game that again, for people who love story and who can replay a game over and over again, like I've played Last of Us at this point 3 times fully through. So it's like I've played it over and over again. And again, predominantly same story experience. Of course, I've had it more in depth, you know what I mean? Like, because on one of my run-throughs, I bothered to collect all the dog tags and did all that stuff. But the fact is, if you're not that kind of player and you're more of a, hey, let me enjoy this once from beginning to end, then I don't think it's worth $60 to you because
and there are other options.
Experience is short.
GameFly, you can rent. This is a great rental. This is a game you could pick up and then trade into GameStop or eBay after a week, or there are other options for you to creatively get some money back on it. For me personally, I'm happy to support it because I think what they're doing, like you mentioned, is kind of opening a window into our future with these consoles. Like, look how good it looks. Look how immersive it can be. Gabe, what did you think about the black bars? This game chops off some of your screen for cinematic effect. Did that bug you?
It doesn't bug me, but what does bug me is they say it's for cinematic effect.
I don't know if render
I have a feeling it's maybe more about that, but it doesn't bother me. The Evil Within did it as well, and that was more recent, so I've had something like this fairly recently. So whatever, you get used to it. This one I got used to it right away.
I didn't even notice it after the opening segment. I mean, it's so polished, and like you said, with what we went through in 2014, that's such a surprise that this game looks so good, comes out with no loads, and is super polished. Like, I mean, the only thing I think that is kind of lackluster from like what's in the game, besides the segment issue we talked about, is like the collectibles. To me, half the time I feel like I'm picking up a useless piece of like, I don't know why they even have.
They do nothing. Some of them have some context to the world, but it's super light. They do have those audio logs. They call them something else. It's like a roll of something, but you can sit there and you get it read back to you. That way you can extend your playtime if you want. You sit there and listen.
You can't walk around while you listen to them. Like
and it takes a couple minutes for them to read them to you. They read them to you very, very slowly. So
there's not a whole lot. You're not collecting like, oh, look for 50 dolls or whatever.
There's a set number. I just don't know it because the trophies are there.
Well, I just mean it's not like, oh, you have to go find the gold coins around the world.
Does it benefit in any way in terms of like an upgrade system, like maybe like Shadow of Mordor, where you get like
0 upgrades? No.
It is cut and dry to the minimum. There are some cool references though. There's a Little Big Planet nod.
You found them?
Yeah, I thought those were really cute and fun. I mean, all in all, like, I thought this game would come out and really disappoint. I think that its hype cycle, the negativity surrounding the length, it's unfortunately covering a really impressive game with a lot of mud.
Should we get into that? I guess we can close off the order discussion. I think this game reviews in between 7 and 8. The game is good. The length, whatever, that's something that is on a person-by-person basis. I wouldn't want the Order 1886 to be 12 hours, but that's just me. And keep in mind, I didn't pay for this game. I will go buy one just to support, because I enjoyed it, and I generally do that. Whenever I think a game deserves a support, I go do it, even though I was sent an early copy.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really excited for the game. I got the collector's edition just because of that. Usually, I only do that with games that I'm really, really excited for, and this is a game that I'm super pumped for. Like, this is a game that I'm probably more excited for than Bloodborne, just because it fits my kind of, like, I like third-person shooters, story-driven, that kind of London Victorian thing, like, really cool to me, steampunky kind of designs. It's like, it's all hitting the right notes for me. So I'm sure that basically next week you're just going to hear me just gushing, like, oh my god, and then you can do this, and then, oh my god. So I'll most likely be gushing about it next week, but I will warn you, this week, while I'm still able to be very objective about it, it's probably not worth. If it's as short as it is, I don't think that the value is necessarily there for all players.
All right. And Zach, not
all.
I'm hijacking you, Zach. Let's get into that.
Well, let me just quickly give my final thoughts, and then you can hijack. Let me give one more breath of life before you take us down here. Closing thoughts on the Order. I do think that it is worth the $60 if you're able. If you're not, wait on it. But I have been very impressed, and to me, what it did that I wanted it to do so bad was grab hold of me and make me invested in the world, invested in the characters, and now I think Galahad's like a cool guy that enters sort of that maybe not top echelon, but he's like a notable character now, and I would be interested in what's in the collector's edition, seeing what that's all about. I also think that it is more competent as a third-person shooter than I ever anticipated it being. At the same time, there are extreme limitations placed on the gameplay, probably because of the visuals. But I don't think it's a home run. I mean, but it's a nice title to add to the PlayStation 4 library, especially as a next-gen only exclusive. Like, this is... Gabe, what would you say on this? Is this the game that you would tell people to get with their PS4? Like, to show off what PS4 can do?
To show off what PS4 can do, yes. Like, if someone's getting a PS4 in one game, this might not be the game I recommend. But just
I would say The Last of Us Remastered Edition.
I mean, the hard part is you play this, everything else is going to be notably worse. Like,
yeah. Like if you want to see like the power of the PS4 and just how good the future of it is going to look for us, yeah, but hands down, this is the best looking PS4 game. It's oh yeah, man, those melee animations, God. Yeah. But yeah, this is.
I'm getting pumped. This is gonna be
this is hands down the best looking console game.
Kind of game. It's gonna be interesting though, because I have been hyped for it, and now I'm more hyped for it. So it'll be interesting, like me going into that versus you guys going like underwhelmed or underhyped and being impressed versus me being hyped, and if it lives up to the hype.
Sure. So, Gabe, if I told you this is made by Naughty Dog, would you believe me?
Yeah, absolutely. It has that level of polish.
That's our like quote of the day, because like that's what to me sells this game. If you're like, hey, you like Uncharted, you like Last of Us.
Naughty Dog is my favorite team.
This doesn't it doesn't reach like their complexity or their depth, but it feels like if you said, hey,
I'm so excited.
To me, it feels like if Naughty Dog said, hey, we want to make a game on PS4 to learn PS4 and then make our full-on Uncharted or something.
This would be like their demo, like something like that. Yeah, let's throw it together.
And like all games nowadays, this does end like with hints of a sequel. I would be super excited for a sequel. Let's say this year at E3, there's no way this happens. Well, let's say at E3 they said the Order 1887 coming out in 2017. That would be like one of my most hyped games because I really, really want them to expand on this world because I like the world. I like it a lot. And I like
it's good. It's February and 2015 is already looking better than 2014. So Gabe, you want to get into sort of the YouTube controversy thing.
I really want to talk about it because
here we go.
It's so dumb. We don't get a chance to defend ourselves when things like this happen. All right, so what happened for Max and anybody else that may not know? The game apparently somehow leaked. Like retailers started selling it early. I saw on NeoGAF Walmart was selling this like yesterday. So way early.
I gotta go to Walmart.
Yeah, this. I don't want to say no name because I don't have a name really either, but this tiny YouTuber, like 20 subs at the time of him doing this, uploaded the whole game. And that's where the Polygon article came from, or the Kotaku article, and they said, oh, look, this is 5 hours because this Let's Player on YouTube. And the fact that they even call him a YouTuber is sort of sickening because he had 20 subs at the time, right?
Well, he is a YouTuber.
Yeah, but no commentary, nothing. He basically just recorded the game, uploaded, and that was it.
That's...
Yeah, fine.
Whatever. That's a different discussion. Yeah.
Sure. All right. So he uploads this. Clock time of the game, 5 hours. And then all this shine gets put on him. Kotaku links him. Polygon links him. Next thing you know, he has 100-something thousand views on one video. And then who was it, Zach?
That's what's going to happen when you release something a week early.
Yeah, and that's fine. But then the way that Kotaku article came about,
I feel like this was almost. I don't know. Maybe people are just not. Maybe they're innocent or whatever. But to me, it seemed like an attack on sort of the YouTube thing. Like, oh my gosh, this game shouldn't be out. There's all this controversy, and it's because of Let's Plays. And look what happens when you give games to YouTubers. Look what happens when they.
Oh, but that's what Polygon and all those sites always do.
Well, I know
because their whole goal. Because look, in their book, it's like they're looking at PewDiePie and they're like going like, oh my God, everybody's going to PewDiePie. Nobody's coming to our site anymore.
So it felt very aggressive in the sense of let's take an opportunity to blow up what should have been a small issue. This guy should have posted his video and had his channel shut down when Sony came back to work on Tuesday. Instead,
that's what happened.
Right. Yeah, his channel was shut down. Let's blow it up to be this big deal. Not only do we get the media attention of the order is only 5 hours long, but also we get the media attention of look what happens when YouTubers get games. And it just felt like a very choreographed. I mean that's what news is, right? You sensationalize and hype for your purpose, but it just I did not like the fact that this got so much attention when in reality this happens with many games and they get no attention. Their channel just gets shut down. You know.
See, and
to be fair, there's also YouTubers who do break embargoes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which drives me insane because it's like one or two bad apples ruin the whole batch, and
that's the thing now. And I can't sit here on the high chair saying, "Oh, I never break embargo." When my channel was like first a thing, I was that guy breaking embargo. I can't say I've never done it, but now back then my games were not supplied by publishers. I would never break embargo on a game that's given to me by a publisher. So the fact, I think it rubs me a little bit more the wrong way because, like, man, it's so hard. Zach hasn't done it yet, but I was sitting here hours and hours and hours out of my day getting these videos ready for when embargo ends tomorrow or Thursday. I guess what?
Yesterday.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I just confused myself when we're recording.
Sometime
this month.
I confused myself because we're recording today. It's not going up till Friday, but yes. Whatever. All right. Like, we work so hard. Like, we really, really do. It takes a long time. And this guy just throws them up, no commentary, a week before release, and he gets 150,000 views. Sure, his channel's gone.
He only got that, though, because of all this press. I mean, I think he would have got views because, people search for the order. But to me, what almost bothers me more than that, and you can continue talking about that, Gabe, if you have more to say. Like, to me, what bugs me, though, is that these sites let one dude, who we don't even know who he is, who is posting this game before embargo, like, totally crucify the order for being a short game. Like, they didn't play it themselves. They're not reporting like, oh, me, reviewer from Kotaku or Polygon, we beat the game and here's what we think. They're going to YouTube and then using this guy's playlist as a way to make a judgment on the order, which I just found sad for Ready at Dawn and sad for...
But that's just the society we live in.
Well, I know, but that's what bugged me the most.
Yeah, it's annoying as heck. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, that annoys me. It annoys me the fact that they make these claims of, oh, and these Let's Players, as they like to say, like, they even put it in quotation sometimes, and it's like, always just look at the agenda. Do they have anything to benefit from YouTubers not succeeding? Absolutely. Everybody goes back to searching for them as the main provider for game content and reviews. Now people go to YouTubers, so of course they're like, hey, let's cut them down, you know what I mean? And a lot of these websites are even losing the personalities that are attached to them.
Yeah.
Because those personalities are leaving and becoming their own brands.
Yeah.
See, Max, but then this happens. Then what happens?
Guys.
Yeah, and you don't have to deal with this, Max. So, and I guess this is another reason why it annoyed me more than anything. Publishers are going to see this and be like, okay,
Yeah,
now we're not sending it. Like Deep Silver already. Wait, was it Deep Silver? I don't want to say it was.
I don't know.
But
usually they're pretty good about that, like being. Well, I mean, like, you see, the problem is, like, I know what you're saying because
it happened with Get Out of Hell. I specifically got a PR email that said, "Hey, we've had problems with YouTubers and embargo, so we're not sending them to YouTubers early." That hurts, like, because I never break embargo. Like, I follow the embargo that's placed on me.
Yeah.
And not just me, everybody. Like, Zach not. Man, I don't want to call people out. Zach not getting a game that he was, in my mind, supposed to get because he is the biggest advocate for this company and he doesn't have it this week, probably because of something like this. It's annoying and it's not right.
I think there's an interesting, I mean, this is word for word from the Kotaku article. One early leak has changed the entire narrative of this game. Days before it's out, gamers across the world are talking about how long it might be, how many QuickTime events it has, how it apparently reuses boss battles in embarrassing fashion. The world won't play the game until Friday, and reviewers can't contextualize any of these conversations until Thursday, so the game's narrative currently revolves around the footage and opinions of a single YouTube leaker. Now, that is very true. That's very thoughtful. That's very aware. But by making these articles, you are the one making this narrative based on this one YouTuber. You are the people who are creating this controversy. You are the people who are allowing a game to be derailed because of a YouTuber. If no one reported on this...
Yeah, well, Zach, are you on their website?
Yeah.
It worked.
I mean, I know. I'm just saying, like, as he's writing that this is a catastrophe.
Yeah, it's hypocritical. He's the one that's contributing to it.
Right.
He's saying, well, people are covering this and adding to the fire as he's pouring gasoline on the fire. He's like, guys, why are you letting this fire burn so hot, guys?
And I would have loved to been able to tweet at. I didn't want to tweet at him or anything, but I half jokingly said hey, let's try to get him on the show and see if we could talk about it. But it didn't end up happening, and that's fine. I don't really care why it happened. It just sucks that it did because yes, it hurts us sort of, but whatever.
I guess
it hurts the game. It hurts the game so much more.
That the game does well. Their goal isn't that they're politically correct. Their goal isn't that they're anything except that they get clicks. That's their job. And I can't fault him for that because he's doing a good job of doing that. It's a well-written article. It's an interesting read. But to me, it's just you want to say Let's Players are junky, whatever. You're not doing any favors to the gaming space either by writing stuff like this.
Yeah. And Kotaku has been known to break embargoes. They are the one giant website that is sort of known for doing stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't know about that to comment on that, but what I do know is I think that it's gotten to the state now that YouTube is large enough to where I think it's unfair to just say YouTuber because everybody on the platform is a YouTuber, in my opinion. That's just what I think. If you're on there, you are. Now, I think that the problem comes from what you said, where you have somebody that's, let's say, never posted a video or never done anything, right? And they come out, break embargo, post the whole game in one video, and then you take that person's actions and you blanket statement everybody that is under what that person does. Because at that point, you have to account for things like credibility. Because what if, let's say, the problem, what you said, it's a case of that person might have not even received their copy or whatever. Maybe somehow they got a copy through the publisher or whatever. I doubt it. But what you said, now you can buy games when a store messes up. So what prevents Joe Schmo walking into the store, right? And he sees the game out early, he buys it or she buys it, and then posts a whole walkthrough, and then you're going to say the same thing. It's not fair, right? It's the same thing if we took a small little gaming website, right, or a blog, somebody's personal blog, where they did something or said something about video games, and then we said, well, everybody, all these gaming websites, right, you don't do that. So then don't classify, and I'm not talking about me, whatever, keep me and you guys out of the picture, but guys, other people Chugga Conroy or Zach Scott or so on and so forth, those guys are not doing that. So then don't put them in that category, and don't just blanket statement, because then if you want, we could start the same thing and say all these video game websites, and you're a part of them, so that's it. I can just classify you in that system.
I think
it's just it's lazy journalism, and it's journalism that fits their narrative. It's it fits your story. Let's keep it up, and that's it. So
I think there's a little blame on all fronts here. One, the YouTuber who kind of did something that wasn't really great. Two, the journalists who are hyping this as this huge thing in blanket statement. And three, a little bit on the fans for negatively reacting to a game because of length. I know that's an issue and whatnot.
Well, that's what happened with Evolve too, right? It's content. So that regard, look, I always say I don't care what the consumer has the right to react however he sure wants. You know what I mean? As long as it's not violent, or harassing people or hurting people, react whatever way you want, because guess what? You're the paying consumer, so you get to decide what your reaction is. Do I think that this is worth it? Do I think it's not worth it? That's completely up to you. Sometimes it's harsh, sometimes it's whatever, but that's just
Max,
capitalism.
All right. So how can a consumer make an informed decision based off lies? Not lies, but misinformation that is happening from unreliable sources and that is being pushed with a sort of an agenda.
Yeah.
And yes, the smart consumer's gonna wait for actual reviews and stuff.
There you go.
But this game sales will be hurt by this.
Absolutely.
And it's said.
But I hope that maybe our conversation about the game is going to be able to maybe sway some people the other way.
Oh, yeah. For every guy, there's one guy who's going to play through it and show how great it is.
Yeah, I think that we, what I try to do, at least, whenever we have these discussions, is I try to be reasonable, and I warn people of the things that I'm probably not very objective about, and I'm being a lot more biased about because of me liking that genre or me having a preference for that genre. We always emphasize the fact of when we paid for the game or when we got a review copy, because all of those things will have an influence on your final judgment. Sure. If you paid for the title or you got it early, no matter what, even if you say, well, at this point I get all my games early, so I don't care. Yes, you do. It's still in the back of your mind. If you had physically put down your money for it, it's going to have a different impact on your judgment. So I think as long as we and more people try to do this kind of thing, like, the Jim Sterlings of this world. Yes, he's oftentimes very profane and over-exaggerated in his opinion, but I think he does a great job of keeping the consumer in mind and always driving that narrative and being fair. So I think as long as you're fair, there will be tons and tons of people that are negative and have agendas and biases, but as long as you try to at least maybe make them transparent or whatever it is.
I think what's really weird about this case is, we're expecting this game to review pretty well. Like, it has impressed us. Ultimately, in this conversation, it wouldn't matter if the order sucked or was great. But what's really, to me, weird is that these articles are coming out 2 or 3 days before they're all to say, hey, the game's actually good. So imagine if this article is written on Thursday when the embargo's up. Kotaku could say, there's this Let's Player, the game's short, but guys, we want to let you know that it's a really good 5.5 hours.
Yeah, that wouldn't have
a totally different narrative. The article has a totally different impact, but the way that it's been presented, like...
Absolutely. And the other thing is, like, okay, the narrative of that, like, to me, if I'm at Kotaku or Polygon or wherever, my first thing would be watch that video and tell me if the game is good. What was the game like? Like, talk about the game. I don't care about the length.
Well, they can't talk about the game till Thursday.
Yeah, I know, but the fact is that they already have seen it and they're reflecting on it and everything, right? So you could say the length of the game is short. However, it seemed like there was all these set pieces or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, talk about the substance, not just the event itself, right? Like, you have to cover what was happening during that Let's Play, right? Because you've already got access to it, so people are going to have access to it. So make a reflection on it, right?
Gabe, are there set pieces in the game? That's something I like.
To me, there's one big set piece. You just finished it.
Okay, so there's not like oh my God, here comes the Eiffel Tower crashing down.
No,
it's not in France, I know, but I'm just saying
No. Well, maybe one other one, but you just finished the big one.
Okay. I think the order also, and I don't know if they intentionally did this or not. I saw Michael Pachter predicted that this game would sell 5 million copies this year, which is a pretty darn good success, I think.
No way it does that now. Maybe did he make this prediction after all?
He said this year.
I think that you overestimate a little bit how many people might read Kotaku. Like, I know it's a big blog, but
no. I don't mean
Joe doesn't read Kotaku.
No, I don't mean about Kotaku. That's not what I mean. I mean the whole length thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say
that's everywhere. That's not just on Kotaku.
I think that's the biggest thing that could hurt this game is like the length.
I mean,
that's it.
I think
because for the general person that's gonna buy a game, they might feel gypped. You know what I mean?
I hope it does really well because Ready at Dawn did a really good job.
Yeah, and I think they built.
You could tell that they care about what's happening. So
I think they built. And I don't know if they were instructed to do this, but I feel like they built an evergreen title. This is a game that, because of its graphics and its polish, like, I don't know that it has to sell like hotcakes the first week. I think that this could be a game that really gets a big boost at Christmas when people buy PS4s. It's a game that next year most likely. I mean, I don't think a game is going to look this good for a while. I mean, MGS5
Uncharted
looks really pretty. Uncharted 4, hopefully, but
not hopefully. Uncharted 4. Put it down right now.
Write it down.
Uncharted 4 is going to be the best game this year.
All right.
I don't know.
Max is laying down the hammer.
If it comes down this year.
Man, but what about Metal Gear? Man, Metal Gear looks so good.
Or Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah, there's too many games.
Does Batman... do you think Batman...
I think Batman reviews better than we think.
I want Batman to look like an order.
I think that game is going to end up way better than what everybody thinks. I think
everybody's expectations are sky high.
I know, but it's going to be even better.
Like, what is?
I guarantee you, this game is going to be talked about as Game of the Year.
I think what it has to do is it has to have a strong. The linear narrative has to be strong, because if it's just like open world with a million checkboxes, I know I'm not going to like it. I mean, I think that the Arkham Asylum was the best storyline, and I hope that they can get back to some of that, because the pathing of the other two, to me, I like Origins better than City because of its story. I thought Origins,
which is insane.
No,
but okay,
City's
okay.
a better game in my opinion.
No, not a better game, but story.
And
really,
a better
think
story.
So?
The Clayface thing, which spoiler alert, Clayface thing. I'll just say Clayface thing.
Yeah.
It was a really cool turn.
Yeah. You mean Black Mask? Do you mean Black Mask? Or do you actually mean Clayface?
Clayface.
No, I'm talking
Black
about
Mask is Origin.
Arkham City.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Origin. Oh, my bad. Okay.
So yeah. Max, it's going to be an epic surprise when the Joker is Arkham Knight.
It's not going to happen, Zach.
That would be the obvious thing. I think
not.
that the incredible thing what they've done so far with the game that's based on a comic book and like on a comic book mythos, by now it should have leaked who it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Still, we don't know.
Maybe they don't know. Maybe that's why they delayed it.
It's still a huge question mark around that. I think that this game has taken a lot of steps forward with like gameplay and stuff, and I can't wait. Like June couldn't come faster. Yeah. It's gonna be. Do
you think it's interesting that they haven't shown I don't. PAX East is in a couple weeks. I don't think it's gonna be there at all. The game comes out in June. Maybe that's a good thing. We get virtually nothing on the game. That kind of Batmobile little multi-part series of gameplay cutscene stuff. Other than that, though, this game is a huge mystery.
And that's fine.
We know what it is generally.
I like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's great.
Because that's why I'm excited about the Order, right? Because I feel like we've gotten just enough. Like, they've given me just enough stuff to be like, here you go, here you go. Like, they put out just enough breadcrumbs, and I'm like, okay, now give me the thing. I want to see it. I want to play it. And I think that, to be honest, that's another thing that a lot of times games do wrong is they give you too much. I think Evolve did that. I think Evolve was too much. There was just so much stuff that by the time we got to the game, it was like, well, we've kind of seen most of the cool stuff already transpire. So I think that maybe that's an issue, is that sometimes it's a balancing game of how much do you show versus how much do you just say, well, you're going to have to find out. Right?
For sure. And we got a lot of feedback on the Evolve thing. We'll just touch on it briefly here.
Okay.
Seth C. says, the reason you can get away with a single-player only full-price title is the quality is embedded and consistent and won't decay within the game. In a multiplayer-only title, the quality varies wildly based on who you're matched with, how the servers are, et cetera, et cetera.
That's
so
a good point.
I thought that was a really good way of kind of verbalizing why single-player may be more valuable. We had a huge range of positive and negative on Evolve. I just want to touch on a couple of them. Kevin Parkerson says one thing people ignore about Evolve is the fact that it's incredibly innovative for a huge AAA title. Publishers often don't like taking risks, instead favoring tried and true formula. It's a shame people are freaking out over price, because if this game does poorly, it'll encourage even less risk-taking. Evolve is, for how much hype it's got, it is a unique style of game, which I think is true. On the opposite end of the spectrum, and then you guys can get in on this. Rodrigo Marquez says, not going to enter the price discussion, but my biggest problem with the game is the hunter side of things. If the hunter team doesn't have a tactic or strategy, it's almost no effort for the monster to reach level 3 and then kill the hunters. The developers should have been aware of this and nerfed some of the monster moves. What I thought was interesting about that comment is, like, who do you make a game for? Do you balance the game based on a hunter team that knows what they're doing? Do you balance the game based on a hunter team that's for randoms? And the game is balanced definitely for 5 knowledgeable people playing the game. Like that's what it's balanced on. And I know that's why some people don't like it, but like me and Gabe played with 4 hunters. It's a totally different ball game. Like it really is. And I guess there was a lot of good stuff here. Hallett says that he feels the maps are super generic and unforgettable.
That's what I was going to bring up this week. I got to play the game about 3 more hours or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most significant thing that I realized that's what has caused me to feel that it's repetitive, is the maps. I don't feel like the maps are interesting at all.
I think there's 12 maps, and I think that
that's a problem. I feel like I've only played on 3 maps.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 of them.
There's 3 maps that I can recall from the top of my mind.
Exactly. 2 or 3 of them are very different. Aviary, which has the big dome in the center, and there's that one is, I think, the best map because it's the most visually cool. There's then the other 2 maps kind of fall into 2 groups. The dark foresty maps with industry, and then the orange swampy maps with like the poison water. And my hope is that the upcoming maps borrow more from Aviary and less from like Med Lab, Armory, Dam, that all kind of in the dark feel like all the same.
Yeah, because I think that the maps are a big contributor to the game feeling repetitive. Like this week, that's what I felt. Like I feel like maybe that is more so the culprit than actually the gameplay or the characters or anything like that, because they don't feel significant. There isn't no like elements in the map that are really cool. Like like I know that bringing up stuff like Call of Duty is a very different comparison, but Call of Duty always has like those few maps like Nuketown or like those maps that are super memorable.
Right.
Now of course scale and everything is very different here, but I just think that it was a missed opportunity to not do some sort of like a city map. I know that some people are going to say, well, that's not going to work in the favor of the monster, but I think it's a cool idea. Like make it in like a broken down city, like as if, I don't know, Godzilla attacked the city and now there's all these monsters rampaging around the city. I think that would have been absolutely awesome, running around the buildings and just, and it would even give more context to the hunters that they need to hunt down this monster and put it
within
to
the city.
It's
sure,
the
I think
most dangerous element in the city right now. We have to stop it. So I think that would have been really cool. I think maybe I thought personally for me it would have been interesting to see a game mode where you start as a level 3 monster and you work your way back. So like
make your way back to level 1 for what?
Yeah. So basically, like your job as the monster is to quickly try to crush the hunters. And
you're like draining power or something.
Yeah.
Over time.
Use the hunter.
I think the map thing is.
I think that would have been cool because then you flip. You have a role reversal, right? Of like where it's constantly the hunters running and chasing the monster. Here you right off the bat you flip it on its head and you do it the other way around.
I think the map thing.
Say that's not coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, maybe it is, and I hope it is.
I think the map thing is a bit of a double-edged sword because, like, as you were saying that, I was thinking about how I love Aviary because as the monster, I use the tunnels on Aviary as choke points for the hunters, and that's what I love about that map. At the same time, from a balancing standpoint, if the map becomes almost like a factor within.
But it should. It's a multiplayer
what I'm saying
game.
Is, like, if you're trying to build an esport, you can't have it where this map favors Goliath, this map favors the hunters, this map favors Wraith. All of a sudden, they have to be more generic in order to facilitate. They still could have more visual variety, but I think they have to be more standardized in order to create an even balanced playing field between monster and hunter.
But don't you think that in a multiplayer game that adds an awesome element of excitement in terms of saying that, like, look, you have to account for the environment that you're in. Like you have to think ahead. Like, okay, this map has a lot more plain regions, so I'm gonna have to be really careful early on. I can't take as many risks as the monster. I have to keep down. Try to hunt down for the other creatures so that I could grow, and then once I'm bigger, I can take those risks. I'm more comfortable with them. Whereas now, it all feels like it's like, let's run through the same thing again.
Yeah. In Injustice, they have two. I don't remember what they're called, like the power and the speed characters, where the power characters can do more in the environment, like break stuff, and then the speed characters can more like swoop overhead. That works because there's that availability in every stage. I think what would be tough is, like, how do you create, like, an advantage for Wraith in this map, and for Kraken, and for Goliath, so that it's not, oh, everyone plays Kraken on this map, or you're just screwed. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to make it so balanced that Kraken can do something cool on this map, and Goliath can... I guess I just wish there's more visual variety, nonetheless. I mean, Gabe, what do you feel about the maps?
Like you're saying, it's hard. It's hard to have all that variation and keep it balanced. I think the maps are the way they are for a reason, and I think maybe they have tried to do different things, but it just didn't work. So, but another point is maps are going to be free. We will have more maps.
And maps and modes are going to be free. Yeah. And, I mean, I've seen so many people, Gabe, we were talking about this off air, of like, oh, the DLC... When did skins become something that could tarnish a game? I mean, when you go buy a car, there are superfluous features that you would have to pay extra for. You don't get a DVD player. People don't go and say, this car sucks because it didn't come with a DVD player. The skins do nothing for the game.
No, but people would reflect on the value of the car if it does come with that thing built in, right?
I mean,
like if you have a car with no GPS built in.
Sure, but how are skins any...
I think that the issue there, I really don't think that it's what you're talking about is, I think, is maybe a very minute group. I think that the issue there came with how much there was, more so than that it was there.
Isn't that a good thing?
Well,
for those that want it,
for those that want to pay an extra
if you
on top of everything you've already paid into the game.
If you don't want the skins, it doesn't impact you.
I mean, the thing is, me and Zach are perfect examples though, because Zach has bought all these skins and he loves playing them. Like before every match, he's sitting there, oh, should I use this skin? Should I use that skin? I don't touch them, and I don't have to, and that's perfectly fine. Like
exactly. But the problem we're talking about is then like why wasn't some of this content in the box right away? Because the maps don't feel significantly different. Some of the hunters don't feel significantly different. The monsters, absolutely awesome. So that's I think the issue came that people felt like if you made this much content, why couldn't some of it be in the box right away?
And there's also this perception that the hunters are somehow, and I know why it is, but I see so often the hunters suck. The hunters are boring. The hunters are whatever.
Oh, let's be honest. I agree with that. I agree that compared to the monster,
on how you play and who you're playing with.
I don't care.
If you play 4 randoms,
I think the monster is the best part of this game, without a doubt. Like
we need to stop having an hour-long evolved discussion every week.
It's so much fun. Again, like I said, I think at the end of the day, my personal opinion on the game is this: it's a good game, not really good. It's a good game. That does things differently, which is really cool. And I 100% agree that this game, out of the box, doesn't feel like it's worth $60. That's my opinion.
That's fine.
Could be the same opinion for the Order 1886.
That's fine.
100%.
The last thing I want to say on Evolve, and then we can put this game probably to bed for the podcast, is that, and I'll catch flack for this, but like I don't think that developers are obligated to put X content in a box or not in a box. If they worked on the skins or the monsters before the game, they have a plan for the game, and it's not up to us to say, oh, if they built this beforehand, we should get it in the box. Or when you buy a TV, you don't get like a PS4 with it. You don't get an Xbox One with it just because there's extra stuff that could enhance it.
That's a terrible analogy.
It's supporting features that they don't have to give you. You're buying a thing, and you know what it is, and so like to complain
it would work better with like a cable comparison, because a TV is useless without something to.
Regardless of the comparison, I'll say this about Evolve. To me, the game's rating changes with how I'm playing it. When I'm playing it by myself, whatever, the game's like a 6, 7. When I'm playing with Zach and Scott and Zach's brother, that game's like a 9. Like the experience that I'm having is so much better, and you don't have to buy the skins, and I've kind of flip-flopped on Evolve a lot. At first, I was strictly on Max's side, like, this game isn't worth $60. They should have included the skins, and I was right there with you. But then hearing a Total Biscuits argument and some of the stuff that Zach was saying, which mirrors it for the most part.
Yeah, where it doesn't make an impact.
Yeah, I understand. Like, it doesn't really matter as long as your enjoyment of the game isn't detracted by these skins. That's fine. Sell as many of them as you want. And sure, they could have put them in the game to begin with, but it's their game. It's their choice. Just don't support it.
And at the same time, with that in mind, as a consumer, you get to decide if you think that it's worth it or not. So
exactly.
It's the same thing. Like you think Destiny sucks and it's not worth it. Somebody else thinks it's worth $80. Sure. So that's what I'm saying. Is like it's subjective. There's no point in us convincing one another whether or not we feel that it is the case. And that's something that I think like people are looking for, is like for us to be like, okay, I agree. Like that's the case. But
all right. So to top it all off, Max now agrees with whatever I say. So we'll end with that.
There you go. As a fun side note, I heard from 2K that apparently, again, take it with a grain of salt, but apparently the DLC has actually been selling a lot. They've sold a lot of skins. So
and that means people want it, and they're doing their job. They're making money off of it. That's fine.
Let's talk about some other games. Max, just spin our world around. Mature rated games, monsters, blood. Flip it on the other side.
Boom. What do you want me to talk about? A Bizzaro world?
That's what I want to hear.
I want a Bizzaro world where kids' games are cool.
Oh man,
that's what you want. So basically, of course, we got our 4th DLC pack for Lego Batman. So this is
all right. I haven't been keeping up with the DLC a whole bunch. I played about half of the main game. So what are the other ones? I know the Arrow pack. Besides that,
we had Arrow. We had Batman 75th Anniversary. We had the Dark Knight, I think it was.
Are these like level packs or character packs?
Yeah, so basically the way that they've done the packs is we had two free packs,
okay,
which were just characters and vehicles, which you got for free. The Rainbow Pack and the other one I am completely blanking on right now. But there was another pack. I know that for a fact. I think at this point we got 4. There's going to be 6 in total. And the DLC packs that are costs, they're usually anywhere from $2 to $3. And this one, for example, is $3. So what you get with this one is you get a brand new level, and you get to play it twice because one time you play just the level itself, and then they incentivize you to play it again because you collect mini kits, and the only way to unlock that free play mode is to play the level once. So that's a 2 playthrough there. Then you get a vehicle, and in this case you got 8 different characters, 8 new characters.
For $3?
For $3.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so I think that they've been very, 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 very fair with what they charge. I think that, but again, it's the same thing where I think it's worth it. Somebody like you might think it's awful. Like, why would I do that? You know?
It sounds cool. I want to play the Arrow pack because they got Stephen Amell to voice Oliver.
Yes, they got Stephen Amell to do the voiceovers there. This pack is based on Bizzaro. If you don't know the Bizzaro character, it's kind of the reverse Superman. He always talks in opposites and everything. And the idea behind this whole DLC pack is that Superman sends off Bizzaro to his own planet to call his own, so that he's not destroying Earth anymore, called Rocktropolis, which is of course a play on Metropolis. And within that city, Darkseid invades that city to try to take over Bizzaro, and Bizzaro assembles his own version of the Justice League. So he's got Bizzaro, which is Wonder Woman, like as a Bizzaro character, Cyzaro, which is Cyborg as a Bizzaro. He's not very original. He just adds Zaro to everything.
Max Zaro.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it has funny writing. It has that charming kind of writing. You know what I mean? Where, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that you're going to be like laugh out, you know, grabbing your belly, just like completely howling on the floor from laughter. But it's got that kind of thing like where it's going to make you smile. It's got that quirky kind of, yeah, it's that kind of thing that it's like, it's got that kind of like Pixar kind of cuteness, you know, where it'll make you like kind of go like, aw, you know, or so in that regard, it does that again very, very well. The characters, I haven't explored each character so far, but they do some clever stuff with them in terms of like making them opposite to the regular characters. So like, for example, Bizzaro, like Superman has heat vision and ice breath. Bizzaro has the opposite. You have a flaming effect for breath and a freezing effect for eyes, and that affects some elements like of what you can do with the character. Like for example, because it's heat breath, you can't like hit targets up above because you can't like, you know, breathe up there. So obviously that will impact the gameplay. Darkseid is super duper cool. They made him a very different big figure than the usual design, and he just looks awesome. Really, really neat. And then visually, they just did a really cool thing with all of these characters. They're all kind of like zombified. So if you like the Black Lantern storyline, you'll enjoy this as well because they're almost like zombie versions of these characters. And the idle animations, as always, are awesome, like hilarious. You know, where they're like Bizzaro spinning his hairpiece and he is unable to get it just right. Like it'll be like always crooked and stuff. So again, it's charming. It's $3. It's definitely a worthwhile value in terms of like what you're getting. You're getting enough. You're getting characters, level, and vehicle. So
any costumes to go along with each of the characters, or no? No.
So these characters don't have the costume change thing that some of the characters in the main storyline do. But then again, in the main storyline and in the game, there's basically it's Cyborg, Batman, Robin, Lex Luthor, and Joker are the characters that get to change costumes. Yeah. And other than that, everybody else is just what their particular character is, and of course they sometimes can transform into big figures and back and forth. So yeah. No transformations, but again, really cool character pack here. Obviously, it's very targeted here towards DC fans. Like you have to be a fan of these characters to want
the
them
average
because
consumer doesn't even know what Bizzaro is.
yeah, so that's the one thing that is a bit of a downside is that you might not know or be interested in these characters. They're very obscure, but then again, the character roster is over 150 characters, so obviously they're going to pull from the far reaches of the universe. But the cool thing is, at least, like, everybody knows who Darkseid is, or at least like people who love comics. So you're gonna want to get Darkseid, and this is the way to get him. So
you ever think they get more aggressive with the pricing of these games? Like, I'm just thinking, if they made Lego DC free to play, 99 cents, you add a character in, it just seems like a treasure trove of money making opportunities there. Like,
probably.
Man,
but these guys, like, honestly,
they're very value driven. Like, it's incredible.
Like, there is no games I think that you could argue that, like, it's like GTA, Lego games are up there in value. Like, you can't argue, because usually when you finish a Lego game, like, all of the story, 100%, you'll be like at 40% completion.
Right.
And then after that, you got like all this other stuff to do, and always there's tons of side missions, Easter eggs. The writing is always referencing a whole bunch of pop culture stuff. They do really clever stuff with the collectibles and stuff like that. So I think you can't argue, like, value-wise, the main games. Like, the Lego Movie game was a little bit wishy-washy on value, in my opinion. It didn't live up to the same value proposition as those other games, but like the Lego Batmans and such, they're just filled with content. And I mean, you can definitely tell. The one thing I love about this is, like, you can always tell that the guys that work on this, to be fair, like, I've talked to some of them and such, but you can tell they love these properties. Like, they are just, because they're always just, they're always finding the most obscure little Easter egg to throw in there that you, like, wouldn't even think about. And they'll always, like, reference things from other things like Doctor Who, other comic books. They'll do little nudges, like when you finish the game. They did a whole nudge to the Marvel game, and that made me freak out because I thought they were going to do a crossover game with DC.
Their passion, like, shines through in the same way that the Garden Warfare team, like, they love it so much, and they're going to pour as much of their heart and fun and creativity into it as they can without really, raking you over for little purchases or whatnot.
Yeah. And most of the time, the Lego games are $50 right away, so it's like it's already discounted. And then on top of that, you get DLC. And if you want, you can buy a season pass. I think it's $15, so you end up getting one of the packs for free with the season pass.
They've, like, mastered that whole model of, like, where to sell it at, how to.
Which is why they always sell incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm excited for Lego Jurassic World and Lego Avengers. Like, it's going to be a fun year for people.
They announced, this. If you want me to talk about it, I could talk about it a little bit. But this past week, of course, at Toy Fair and stuff, we also got a whole bunch of news on the Jurassic World game. You're going to be able to play as the dinosaurs, which is awesome.
Oh, really?
Yes, and you're going to be able to create your own dinosaurs.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So,
I didn't even know that.
Well, imagine a T-Rex with, like, a pterodon wings. Oh, man. That's changing colors and stuff. Woo! I'm excited. It's going to be absolutely awesome sauce.
Yeah. That's very, very, very cool. I love that we can touch into, like, extremely gory, fighting lichens and ripping their heads off, with the Order, and then completely flip the script and it's Bizzaro and Lego World and having a lot of fun with dinos with wings.
That's video games for you. Like, man, this year it's a good year for games.
It's starting off good. It has started off good. Have you?
Yeah, we've been off to a very, very, very strong start. I mean, we've been impressed by Dying Light, Life is Strange,
Darkest Dungeon's a big one, The Order.
Have you kept up with any of those indie games? Gabe, have any stayed on your sort of, like, rotation?
No, I still got to finish Castle in the Darkness. I'm super close to finishing it, but since we got The Order, like, all focus shifts on that just to get those videos ready or whatever, and just to finish it so I can talk about it on the podcast. But starting today, Oblivious, we're gonna start playing that. That looks really cool too. It's from Adult Swim Games. So indie games, they're gonna be a thing throughout the year.
I played Hand of Fate on PS4. This is an early access. It's been in early access on Steam for a long time, but it officially released yesterday on PS4 and PC and Xbox One, and it's a really strange game. Basically, like, the setup is you're in this almost like a fortune-telling booth, and this guy has all these decks of cards, and he kind of lays out these cards that set up a roguelike type adventure where he'll deal you armor, he'll deal you equipment, he'll deal you life and food, and then you're moving along this card path, flipping over cards, and different encounters happen. So you'll flip over the Fair Maiden, and she'll come and say, I'm granting you one gift. Do you want food or gold or health? And then you'll go and the next card will be a skeleton army, and you'll have to then fight skeletons. What's really weird, though, is it shifts back and forth between you like in this room with this dude and then you actually playing the game. The actual gameplay is limited to these arena-based fights. So it'll say, you've been ambushed, and then he'll get to draw 3 cards, and it'll be 2 skeletons, 2 soldiers, and 2 goblins. It'll drop you into an arena. You'll fight them with the equipment you've gained, with the magic you've gained. There's shop cards, and then where it gets kind of more interesting is the more you play and the more you beat bosses. I don't remember what they're called in the game, masters or something like that. Mm-hmm. You then unlock new cards, and so you can start each game with your own customized deck. So you can put in maces instead of swords. You can put in more shop cards if you want that, more gold cards. It's like a deck building kind of like chance-based roguelike with Batman-style combat, like you're attacking and...
Seems like the story is almost a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons a bit, like where this guy kind of influences the story through the cards, right?
It's really...
It's almost like the Game Master or something.
It's really like high concept in a way. It almost feels like a... I
like the art style. It looks kind of interesting.
It is pretty cool, and I wish there was more controlling hands-on time with the actual fights, because those are pretty fun. And maybe it gets harder. It's been very easy. I played for about 45, 60 minutes. Very easy the first couple rounds I did. But it's got just such a unique structure. I don't know if I like it or don't like it yet, but I really respect it for doing something.
How much is it?
$15.
$15.
Which isn't too bad. I think it's probably where it should be. It has decent visuals. It has slow loads, and I wish that they weren't slow, because you're
playing on PS4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Drawing the cards goes quick. You're moving through that quick. If you've already seen a card, there's flavor text for everything, so you don't have to read the Fair Maiden, stops by and approach it. You can just skip through that. But then it's like, oh, time for battle. Let's have a 10-15 second load screen, and then do what honestly could be a 10-second battle if you're only fighting 1 or 2 guys. Conceptually, though, it's a really good idea, and I don't know. I think it's interesting to check out if you're looking for something that takes that roguelike formula and card game formula and just the first of its kind. It's very original.
Multiplayer or no?
It's just single player, and I don't know how long it is. There's an endless mode and a story mode. The story mode, you're going through what looks to be about 20 different bosses, and as you're building your deck better, he also gets better cards because you're kind of playing against him. And then there's also an endless mode, which I assume is just going as long as you can, because you will lose life as you fight guys. If you run out of food, then every time you move to a new card, you lose 10 life points. You start with 100. It's very niche, but it's also just a cool concept. I don't know.
I'm giving it a try this week, because you were telling me about it yesterday, and I was looking into it. I might just go download it on Steam and see maybe the loading is a little bit better on there than it is on PS4. So I think I'll give it a shot.
It's a cool game. I'm not speaking volcanoes of praise, but
yeah, it sounds interesting. It sounds like the concept is very maybe it's not executed perfectly, but it's still intriguing enough to check out.
I just like the idea of I'm sitting down and we're playing this card game, and then Jumanji kicks in and I get to actually fight the guys. It's got sort of that Dungeons and Dragons board game. It's very original. It reviewed very well. I think not because of its actual mechanics, but because of its originality, and what they set out to build here is a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's Hand of Fate.
That's cool. Awesome.
A good week for games all in all. And then Kirby and the Rainbow Curse.
Oh, I'm so excited for that too. I'm a huge Kirby fan.
That's just a bundle.
I'm biased. I'm going to be biased on that, because every Kirby game I'm just 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to end up being biased, but again, haven't had a chance to play it. Of course, it's actually, when you're watching this, it's coming out today. So
right. Yeah.
But it's going to be an awesome weekend. Order and Kirby.
Nintendo is getting a little experimental with the $40 price point on Kirby.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any major releases next week, but
Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Yeah, Xenoverse.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to play it.
It's all makes sense.
I'm just going to play it to see what it's like. I was a huge...
Wait a minute. Do we have a Dragon Ball Z hate crew over here? What is up with this?
Who?
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, let's make Saiyans.
No, like I'm saying literally, let's all make Saiyans. Like, I'm yay. Like, no,
awesome.
I wasn't being sarcastic. No.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no.
Well, guys, over the next 6 months, you will find out our opinion, because every episode we will find out next time on the Dragon Ball Z Universe Opinion. We'll do it like the Dragon Ball Z TV show, where
30 episodes later, he's still fighting Cell.
Yeah, we'll be like, every week we'll be like, our opinion, find out next time on when we come up with a podcast name.
Oh, let's touch on that. I know we said we were gonna have a name by this week, last week, but we don't.
But next week.
Yeah, but next week we sort of narrowed it down to a few of them. We went from having like no idea.
Next week, yeah.
Now we have some ideas, so now we just got to like narrow it down to the one. I think we have maybe like 3 or 4 of them that are in contention. So we want to give ourselves one more week to see if we can really decide
pick
on
the best one.
Yeah.
See what rises to the top. Majora's Mask, just a quick little note. That game is shorter than I thought, which disappoints me, but man, is it fun. It kind of makes me worried for Zelda Wii U and excited at the same time. I hope they take originality and infuse it into the Zelda formula, because it's really cool when they do something unique, like that time mechanic. I think just the vanilla Zelda is kind of getting old for me. I hope that they're able to add some chocolate or strawberry or blueberry or something, and the Wii U version seems to be... I got my fingers crossed. It's got to have something. It's got to have something additional. But the other note is that the new 3DS, like after playing with it for 2 weeks now, that C-Stick, as stupid as it looks and is, it makes a big difference for the games that use it, and it's hard to go back and not. I mean, like, honestly, it was hard to control Majora's Mask. I recorded it on a regular 3DS, and like not having that C-Stick to move the camera, and it does add. It's not like a full-on Vita stick, but it sure is nice that it's there. What are you guys hyped for? Most hyped for? Now that the order, I mean, Max, you might be most hyped for the order, but now that the order is kind of...
Well, yeah, you guys made me more excited for it than I even was, which I'm trying to stay calm, because I don't want to go into it thinking that it's going to revolutionize gaming. Yeah, so...
No, it doesn't revolutionize gaming in any way. So hopefully
it sounds like it might.
Oh, yeah, visually, sure. I mean, even so, like, there's games that look this good on PC.
Okay.
But for console,
think so? What game? What game? Name one.
Oh, you can definitely have like Metro look as good as this. You can have Crisis look as good as this. Well, not as good, but close enough. Keep in mind those are games that are a few years old. Yeah. So.
I just think what's also interesting is it's third person.
Dying Light looks beautiful on PC. If you do max settings and all that. So.
I think for me, it feels enhanced because it's indoors most of the time, and like a lot of like Far Cry, Crisis, like that stuff is set in big environments. I don't know.
You just asked what I'm most hyped for. We talked about it a little bit this week, not on the podcast, but Resident Evil, the episodic Revelations.
That's next
week.
Yeah.
Is that starting up next week?
Yeah. Yeah. Episode 1 is next week, so that's what I'm gonna go with. I really want to play that.
Max, are you gonna play that?
I don't know. It depends, because the problem is I'm going to be playing Kirby and Order. Yeah. So if I have time, because I try to not play too many games at once, because I feel like then I start
don't worry. The Order,
my judgment is
you'll beat the Order in one day.
Yeah. So I was going to say, don't worry. The Order won't.
And then I'll probably beat Kirby and then the day after.
Yeah. So then Resident Evil on Tuesday. You're good.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. I probably will end up trying it out.
I'm excited because they said it's
looks
not
cool.
Scary.
And more importantly, I like to support the concept of episodic gaming. I like that. I don't know why I like the whole idea of... Because then you can't make that argument of value.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get more value than in episodic games, right?
True.
You never will have the discussion, is this worth $5, $10? It's like, if it's $10 and it's 2 hours, bam. That's just fantastic. Yeah. It's drop in, drop out. I really love that concept, and I really would love to see more and more games look at that and be like, maybe that is something we could do. And instead of having huge breaks, they said, how many weeks are going to be there?
It's 1 week.
Resident Evil is every week.
Yeah, one a week for 5 weeks.
It was every 3 weeks.
No, every 1 week.
All right.
Yeah.
What they're doing is one a week downloadable, cool. And then they release the retail disc when the 5th one comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, so that and Ori and the Blind Forest is another one I'm crazy hyped for. The preview coverage on it has been super good. It's it has Mario Galaxy aspects to it that I really want to see done in HD on
Really?
Yeah, it has certain upside down stuff. It has more. Yeah.
Even in the side scroller, there's gravity stuff. I had no idea.
Yes, yeah, sort of.
Ooh.
So, yeah, cool. That looks super interesting. What about you, Zach? What are you?
I'm gonna be really. I want to say Bloodborne, but I've said that so many times. I want to say Codename Steam because I really am looking forward to that. But I'm gonna be
really weird
anti Zach and say The Witcher 3.
Whoa. Witcher 3? Wow. Oh yeah, that's coming out soon.
I mean, it's May.
Not soon, but yeah,
soonish. I saw a thing on all of like the talent trees and how skills are going to be implemented in that game.
Oh, that game is going to be awesome.
What I want from the
people that love that is going to be awesome.
Yeah, what I want from the Order is like more crafting, more customization, upgrades. The Witcher 3 has all of that. I didn't get into Dragon Age, but I do love me like a really good RPG experience. And so I'm hoping that The Witcher 3 can be, I don't want to say, I guess westernized enough that I can get into it and really like progressing my character, building him out, and that the story grabs hold, and that the 16 hours of sex scenes don't sully it.
It's not 16 hours of sex scenes.
It's just motion capture, no?
16 hours of motion capture. I mean, that's got to be so awkward. You got the mocap balls on you, and you're like grinding up against somebody. I wonder how that, like, how much would you have to be paid to do that? Like, what's the hour?
It's art, man. Sure. It's art, man. What about you, Max? Which one are you most?
Well, I'm excited about the two games that we spoke of before, obviously Kirby and Order.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to play them yet. I think that on the horizon, like Dragon Ball is going to be cool, but that's like obviously just kind of like for personal like nostalgia reasons, you know?
Yeah.
So that'll be neat. I am looking forward to playing that. I always enjoy those like Naruto games and Dragon Ball Z games. They're just fun. You know what I mean? Like they just remind me of like nostalgia, like when I used to watch those shows regularly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So probably that, but I think probably the next big one is like Bloodborne, and then after that it's Batman. I mean, I like I said before, I had the little spiel about it, but I am so excited for Batman. It's been a long time since I've been this pumped for a game.
I'll get more pumped for it when it's closer to release. Right now, it's just so far out. So
I don't. To me, it's like I'm still like I can't wait. I don't care how long. It's just oh my god.
February has flown by. I mean, Gabe, it's gonna be April before you know it, and then
that's true.
June. But
I'm booking my E3 flights this week. It's scary how fast time flies, and this podcast has flown right by. I'm looking at the time, and man, it has been it's been a good show. The Order. I'm just happy that it's good. Like that's all in all, I'm just so happy. Regardless of discussion about controversy or length, like it's a good game, and that is a victory for Sony, for PS4, for Ready at Dawn, and for us, because we got something cool to talk about and cool to play. I'm eager to hear what you guys think. If you pick the game up, let us know what you think about the length. If you enjoyed the game in spite of the length, or if that sullied it for you, and just what you think about the Order 1886 in general. Give us your feedback on the show, questions, comments. We're happy to answer questions too. A lot of times it's all feedback on what we discuss, but feel free to throw us some curveballs in question format as well. And let's do a special little thing here, guys.
Ooh.
A bunch of people have asked, where is Scott? Where is Game Riot, our friend?
True. Here he is. He's right here. No, he's not here.
No, we're all still really good friends with him, and it just didn't work out timing wise and stuff like that for the podcast. So there's nothing wrong about that.
Keep in mind, he's in the UK, so he's 5 hours ahead of us. So.
But his Twitter is @GameRiotArmy, and I want all of you guys to go tweet him a wink face. And just don't say why, don't say we sent you, just like a little special message for him, so he wakes up with like hundreds of wink faces, all right? And we're not going to say what it is. He's going to be completely confused, but it'll just spark some excitement into his weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad you addressed it, because every week someone's asking where's Scott. I don't know, Scott's sleeping or something. I don't know.
We still play a ball. We still hang out and make videos, so there's like nothing wrong there.
Yeah. Except we hate him, and he's secretly a werewolf, so we're gonna kill him.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
We are gonna have a great week. Max has big games to play. I got big games to play. Gabe, are you gonna get in on the Kirby action?
I am. That and Oblitus or Oblitus. Yeah. I got my code last night. It's not out till the 27th. What's today? I don't even know. So we'll have talk about that whenever we can talk about it. And Kirby as well. So.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining and tuning in. Max and Gabe, thanks for being here. Our Order will reconvene in a week. Until that time, though, guys and girls, thanks so much. A fantastic week. We'll see you all later.
And drink some hot chocolate.
No, everybody enjoy the order. Don't drink hot chocolate.
Drink that black water. What's that stuff called? Black water?
Yeah. Black water. Drink that.
Hey, okay, Max, it keeps you alive for hundreds of years. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You might want to get a little of that black water.
Maybe.
All right, guys. See you later. Stop the broadcast.